Praise be Jesus and Mary. Today's gospel with this cleansing of the leper, we have such a great example of faith and resignation in this leper. So this man who is suffering from leprosy, he knows very well that there is no cure for him. Okay, he is looking for a miracle. And so he comes to Jesus, and the gospel says he kneels down. There's another translation, the Douay Reims, actually translates it as adored. So this is a gesture of faith, and we know that even further by what the leper himself says. Namely, he says, "If you will, you can cleanse me. If you will, you can make me clean." Now that is really different from the petitions we hear, for example, of the Israelites to Moses. We go to the book of Numbers, chapter 21, verse 7. The Israelites turn to Moses. They don't say, drive these serpents away from us, remove these serpents from us. But they say, pray to the Lord that he take away these serpents. So this leper, he doesn't come to Christ and say, pray to the Lord or pray to God. But he says, if you will, you can make me clean. By a simple act of his will. That is a profession of faith in this miraculous, something that can only come from God. It's a profession of the divinity that he recognizes in Christ. And so how did he come to this faith? How did he come to this knowledge? Well, one way is by reason that moved him to supernatural faith, because this is Christ's second year of public ministry. So by now, this leper knows well that this man is working miracles and by his own power. Now, he also certainly received interior illumination, namely God's grace, with which he then cooperated, gave his assent to this grace. So he comes in faith to ask Christ for this healing. But then we notice that there's also this element of resignation that he comes, right? If you will, you can make me clean. As if to say, if he be unwilling, I will remain unclean. And so there's this beautiful commentary. It says, for he resigns and submits himself to the will of Christ, that if he wishes, he may be cured. If he be unwilling, he may remain unhealed. And the reason is this, that we should come with our petitions to God in our needs, in this particular case, sickness, with this resignation. For sickness and illness are often useful or necessary for the salvation and sanctification of the soul. So remember that our bodily health has a relative value. The health of our soul has an absolute value. So we can always absolutely ask God for the health of our soul, its salvation and sanctification, but only conditionally for the health of our body. That is, if it is good for us, for our ultimate good, and if it is pleasing to God. Therefore, it behooves us to resign ourselves to the judgment and will of God, nor should anyone entreat him absolutely, but rather conditionally. That is, if it be pleasing to God and advantageous for the soul's salvation. And so these are the lessons that we learn from this leper, to approach God, to approach Christ with great faith, but also with resignation. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
et Jesu